That's the name used by everybody, though I have other names like Batista Wanjohi. Kiriamiti is my dad's name, though it was a nickname which I adopted. I come from Murang'a town, a place called Thoita. And maybe some people wonder about my age. Now I'll be celebrating my 70th birthday, February 14 next year. I'm a writer. And in fact, I started writing when I was in prison. Most people know that I was in prison, and I spent quite some time in prison. I spent 16 years in prison. And this is where I got an idea of writing. And while still in prison, I wrote my first book, My Life in Crime. And in fact, it was published while I was still in prison. And I always tell my friends that when that book was published and the authorities realized it was written by a person who was still in prison, well, they discovered it was me, and I was sent to another prison within prison, a place they call solitary confinement. So that's me. So far, I've written 5 books, beginning with My Life in Crime, and the last one is My Life in Prison. Although I have submitted another one to this company, the Abduction Action Squad, and it's about to come out. So that will be the 6th book. Yeah, especially movies. There are certain groups that have been coming to visit EAP because they have the rights of filming. Film rights are with the publishers. And they have been given the rights, but they have always failed. It began some time back, about 6 years ago. But I understand there are some who have been pirating that work, and they are even in some countries acted a movie. Yes, I got information there, but not exactly My Life in Crime. They took parts of it and mixed with other things. It's very interesting because I realized that while I was in prison, I started reading books because out of idleness. Sasa nikawasoma kitabu kimoja cha Mwagi Gechero, the late Mwagi Gechero, who later became my best friend, Across the Bridge. Alikuwa ameandika mambo ya ujabazi, about prison, yet he had not been in prison at any one time. Kafikia nikaona, for a person who has been in prison for over 10 years, I can come out with a better information about prison. So I got the idea, then I started writing. In fact, it took some time, but I wrote. And there were some good friends there, because I remember when I wrote that book, I gave it to a fellow prisoner. We used to read a lot, because there are some, we used to get books, like I had a sister who provided me with books constantly, my elder sister, and I'm very thankful to her because it's because of her that I became who I am today. So we used to read a lot. When I gave the manuscript to a friend, he told me, Kiriamiti, I've never read a book this interesting. It's even better than the chase books we read. So I thought he was joking. But then I decided to agree with him and sent it out. As my 2 daughters, yeah. I have a daughter who is a model, and today she's done a lot. Then the last born is an artist, a very good artist, a cartoonist, and she's now doing photography. And she has written a book. In fact, most of them like writing about the dad they don't know. Because they hear about me not from home, but from their age mates. When they go to school, unasikia mtoto, unasikia, atuwe mtoto wa Kiriamiti. So they start wondering, kwani Kiriamiti ni nini? That's what they say. And like that firstborn, the other time she was in the newspapers discussing how she was disturbed by people and how, again, after all, people started identifying with her. And Rita, they all call themselves after me, and Rita Kiriamiti, there's Vivian, and there's Connie. Incidentally, I have 3 daughters, and I'm very thankful about that. I always praise God because of giving me 3 daughters and not a single boy, because they know what it would mean. In prisons, I have only been invited once in Murang'a prison, and in fact it was a success because I changed quite a number of prisoners. Like you see, in a prison like Murang'a, you'll find that the one serving the longest time is serving about 3 years, and they panic. So when I talk to them, naambia sasa nyinyi mnaofikiria habari ya miaka 3-5, I have already served 16 years na nimetoka na niko na nyinyi hapa. I'm talking with you. Nilikuta watu wanaendelea, lakini sasa tuko kiwango kimoja. So I did that, and in fact, whenever they come out of prison, they try to look for me to at least show them how to start. About schools, I visit secondary schools. I've gone to so many secondary schools. I've gone to Makueni, gone to Meruko, so many schools, over 50 secondary schools. And actually, I even I've lectured in Nairobi University, in JKUAT, and Egerton University, Molo, and Nakuru campus, having been invited by lecturers there. In most cases, we discussed writing. Not easy to think about crime, but to date, it continues. For me, I know there isn't a single person in this world who has never stolen something. It matters on the degree. Everyone, even when you are in school, you stole a pencil, you stole a rubber, that's theft. But as it is in normal life, kama hukuendelea, basi huwezi kuitwa mwizi. But there is that graduation. When I graduate from a pickpocket and I graduate to a car, you start breaking into cars and the like. To an extent, especially when you go to prison, now you start meeting wale criminals sugu, and they wanakuingiza kwa hizo groups zao. I read a lot, more so African writers, but I also like reading these voluminous books because I want to learn. How come watu wanaweza kuandika vitabu vikubwa hivi and they don't get tired? But you see in Kenya, if watu hawasomi sana wataki kuchoka. If for instance I combined Son of Fate with the Sinister Trophy, it would have up to about 500 pages. And the cost would have gone up to 800. When most writers, most buyers won't toa pesa hata 800 waseme ati mimi naenda kununua kitabu. So we have to keep them guessing. And this is why they long for more. Like when I wrote Son of Fate, I received so many letters through the media. Wengine hata wanakuja wananiuliza kwa nini uliacha kitabu hivi? So they gave me motisha ya kuandika the Sinister Trophy. And still they are coming for me to talk about what happened after the conclusion of the Sinister Trophy. You know, you can write in any language. Sio lazima uandike Kizungu. But there are some people who will do it for you. Uandike Kiswahili, they will do it for you. Now, the barrier is kukosa kuanzisha. It's simple. If you think you can write, you're already a writer. And if you start small and ideas will come. And when you get tired, don't worry. They call it writer's block. Hata sisi unafika mahali unasikia hutaki kuona kitabu karibu na wewe, wakati unataka mambo mengine. But then when again it comes, unajisikia hutaki kufanya kitu kingine. So you don't write continuously until you start a book and complete it at once.